Here's kind of a progress update and brief discussion on some plans for the near future. I made some progress in here cleaning up. I know it doesn't look like it, but it is actually much better than it was. I put these 3 shelves up today. This is mostly telephone stuff. And I'm doing this kind of slowly because one of the problems at the other location was lack of organization and a difficulty of finding things. Now, I had phones stashed in 4 or 5 different small areas in the other house, and so the objective was to jam as much as I possibly could into as small area as possible, and so it wasn't arranged in a way that was easy to find things. So what I want to do is try to keep, at least for now, I want to keep everything in the same area. It still doesn't solve the fact that it's going to be a total fiasco and a half to try to find one particular phone set out of these 3 shelves, but at least I'm only looking in one place. And then once things settle out down the road and I got more time, then I can go through and try to figure out a better way to organize it. But that's kind of what I want to do for now, is just get everything sorted out and stored in a reasonable way, so that I have somewhat of an idea where things are. As far as this room is concerned, I'm probably going to split this room in half. And so what I'll do is, I'm not completely certain on this yet, but I'll probably put this, the work table here. This one came with the house, and I don't like the surface of it, but the bottom of it is very good, very sturdy. So I'll keep the frame, and I'll put a different piece of wood on the top, probably carpet half of it, and then I think I'm going to take this bench and move it over to here, and it will go right here. So it would be in essence of having a wall where this beam is, so that would make this area, so it's imagining there's the wall here, the bench would come out maybe to here, so that would make this area here the studio area. And I think this is the best option because it definitely can't stay where it is, because the problem is you have a lot of sources of noise over here. You have the boiler, which is very loud. There's no way I can record with the boiler right there. You have the clothes machines here, which aren't particularly loud, but it's a source of noise I don't want in videos. You know, one of the other issues I had at the other location was constant background noise in videos. I'm trying to fix most of the problems that we had at the other location. So there's no way that this room can be used for filming because it's just too loud. Now in the summer, it's one thing because this is only running on occasion because it's just serving a hot water. But in the winter time, I mean, this is an old house, the insulation isn't the greatest. Reality is this is going to be running all the time in the winter. So it's not going to work. This cannot stay where it is. It's not practical. I could put a wall here and then close this in. It would be small enough I'd have to get a fresh air intake for the furnace. Or for the boiler rather. It's a boiler, not a furnace. That's a possibility in my mind still, and we'll have to see how the winter goes, but it may become a necessity because this boiler is audible all the way upstairs throughout the whole entire house, and I hate noise. So I'm going to start by putting a solid door there and a second door up at the top, and then I'm going to put some kind of insulation in here that will try to cut down the noise you know, in this wall here, in between what goes upstairs and here. And we're going to see how that goes. My hope is that it'll make it quiet enough that in here you don't really hear it, and you certainly don't hear it upstairs. If that doesn't work, I'm going to have to put a wall here, which is not ideal because you're going to get a real narrow walkway here, but I'm going to have to put a wall here. You know, probably come out to maybe here or so that you can still service the thing relatively easily. And go over here and put the wall here and just box this in and put all sorts of like 3-4 layers of sheetrock and drywall and well, it's the same thing, but put like a couple layers of that and, you know, noise padding and I gotta do something because I'm not living with the noise. So that's plan B. Hopefully plan A is good enough with just putting the door there, but I'm not certain. So that's that. So we have that. The door installation shouldn't be too hard here because we already have a door frame, we already have the hinges routed out, and we already have the knob thing, whatever it's called. So as long as this was done standard, which it looks like it's about standard height, if this was all done standard, it should be simple to drop a door in here and see what happens. The upstairs door is going to be a fiasco because the opening is, I think it's a 26-inch opening or 27-inch opening, which is not a standard size. This I would expect as a standard size. It looks like a 30 to me. I think this is a standard size. So we'll see. Maybe this will be good enough if I tack, you know, maybe another layer or two of drywall, because this is 2 layers of drywall. You got this side and this side, so it's two layers of drywall here. I mean, that should provide a decent amount of noise dampening properties, I think. It doesn't sound to me like it's coming through the floor, but if it is, I'll have to put something on the floor. We'll see. So that's the boiler situation. Got another month or two to figure that out. So that's what I think is going to happen. So it cannot be in there. It's got to be over here. And I think since you have the windows over there and apparently crickets, if you're going to occupy the room, this is the nicest area because you got windows and you have climate control. So to me, it makes the most sense to use this corner as the area I will occupy, and then this area can be storage, and that side can be storage, and under here can be storage, and then over here can be storage up against this wall, and then this can be storage over here. I don't want to put anything over here yet because eventually I need to cut a hole in there and put a door in between here and the garage, because the garage needs to be better than it is, but that's kind of down the road. That's probably next year. That's going to be expensive. So that's that. So I think we'll put it in here. Now this room, we may have a problem in the winter because it's not really underground. The front is. Front is mostly underground, this side, but the back here is not at all underground. So we may need to add insulation to heat this. It looks like there was insulation at some point. It's kind of hard to tell what was here. I can't say with absolute certainty, but I'm pretty sure this was a finished room at one point. So we'll have to go through the winter and see how it goes. I initially didn't really want to do anything to the room as far as the studs are concerned, because I like having the access. You know, you got, this is a ranch style house, and one of the reasons I wanted a house like that is because you have access to the top and the bottom of the living space. So you can repair anything and run anything with very little difficulty. If you cover these walls, you take that away because you need access to the rafters there, past, you know, on the other side of the studs to drill the holes. So you put paneling on these walls and insulation, you kind of start losing that access. I mean, you could go up the top. It's not like it's impossible, but it's not easy. So I'm not totally certain on that. Plus, you'd have to put insulation up there too, so you really couldn't go from the top that easily. So we'll have to see what happens. If I oh, is this insulation right here? This would answer the question. Is this insulation? Yes, it is. Okay, so this was insulated then. So it probably will need to be insulated again. Which is fine, we'll get there. And then what we'll do is we'll put insulation up, and then I found that Home Depot recently. I had no idea they still made this stuff, but I found the cheap old MDF paneling at Home Depot. It's a lighter color than I wanted, but for the basement here it's fine. So that's probably what I'll put up here. I'll put, I guess you got to put some kind of a moisture barrier, and then the insulation, and then the cover. So this is going to take some effort to get this going, and I'm a little bit hesitant to set much up here before I get the insulation in, because then you create more work taking it back out. The shelves are no big deal because they're all rolling, so you roll them around out of the way, no problem. But the bench, that could be a problem. So we'll have to figure out how that's going to work. Shouldn't be too bad. Just going to be expensive, you know, an expensive situation. Well, we'll do it. So that's that. So I think this will be the new studio area. The other thing I'm fairly certain about is the networking equipment. I think I have decided that I want to put it here. I'm going to build a rack and put it here. Got the outlet there, and this is fairly central because I've got a bunch of runs going over there into the garage. Some serving the garage, some serving upstairs, and there's going to be 8 or 10, you know, network runs over there, and then I'll put a few up here in the kitchen, and then there's going to be probably another 8 or 10 going the other way, maybe a little bit more than that, because you're going to have 2 computer rooms down that way, so maybe more like 15. But I think this is a pretty central area. You know, it's simple to run wires through there and over here. And if you put it over here, you're just creating the same, you know, you're running so much over there long distance. I think this is better because there's only 2 rooms here. You got the bedroom over there and the computer room over here, and then we'll have the, you know, the other room is like right over there. There'll be computers in there, and then here's the kitchen and the other side of the kitchen, and then the living room. So this, I think, is the most central area to put it. So we'll have that. We'll have the telephone, modem, and everything will move over to here. This isn't the first choice, but I'm kind of limited to where the outlet is because I can't run too many more outlets. I ran a lot of them for the kitchen, put a couple in for the air conditioners, and I'm out of space in my thing here. It's full. And what's kind of agitating me is that the number of things you're allowed to put in there is dictated by the service. The incoming service to this house is original from 1963. Actually, it's kind of neat. There's still of the original fuses here. Original disconnect there. But I believe these wires that come in from the outside, which are in fact cloth, I believe they're only enough gauge for 60 amps. So You got 60 amps there. This whole thing is flaky because there's 100 amp fuses in there, but I'm pretty sure the service is only 60. And then what I know is totally wrong is that you have a 200 amp panel, and then I'm confused because if the panel's 200, then why didn't they put enough spaces in for 200? It's all sorts of screwed up here, and this is a lot of beans to replace this panel. It's frustrating because I don't need more than I can't think of a single time where I would ever run more than 60 amps at once. I mean, even if I put all the air conditioners on and the stove on, you're still not at 60 amps. You're not even close. So it would be annoying to have to go to 200 just to get enough things in the box. But at some point I may have to do that so that I can get enough things in the box. I mean, there's no outlets on this side of the room. That's like a hack rig up thing that's got to go away because I don't like it. And I mean, that's all you got over here is just this. And even that's switch, so you can't even use that for anything. And you got the one outlet here, which it serves everything, which is not really correct. So, and then you got that, which I can't remember where that comes from, but I gotta check and see where that comes from. That's kind of useless. If that's a home run, which it looks like it might be, then that's one thing I could save and redo for something else. But just all takes time. So I brought all this stuff over today. This is all one load. It's kind of impressive how much stuff I can fit into that car. It looks small on the outside, but I mean, this is all one trip. There's a lot of stuff that fits in there. So that's that. That's where we're at for downstairs. I haven't gotten a whole lot of videos. I saw some comments. I haven't been looking at the comments as much as I usually do, but I saw some comments saying how come I'm not doing videos of like before and after and progress and stuff. And really the reason is that the house was a disaster when I bought it. It was a foreclosure house, so it wasn't ready to go, and I wanted to be in here as soon as I could. You know, you're paying for the house, live in it. So it was kind of like there were certain things I had to do immediately. Like there was all sorts of electrical issues in the kitchen. Yeah, it would have been great to get all the troubleshooting on video and, you know, all this stuff, but when you do a video, the problem is it takes like 2 or 3 times as long because you're fidgeting with the camera, you're showing things, you're talking about it more than you would, and then of course there's the thing where you put a camera on and things just don't work. So it was kind of a case where it just needs to get done, so I just did it so that it was done as quickly as possible, even though it's not on video. So there's things like that. Now, finishing out, like there's just a pigtail in the kitchen right now on the light fixture. Let me show you here. So right now, I've just got these things up there. So what I will do is show a video of what fixture I want to put up there, and putting that in and fixing the box up, you know, up in the attic. It's not secured right. Not even the right kind of box. You know, but the wiring and everything, I had to do that just to get it done so that I could function. But I need lights in the kitchen to move in, you know, well, that's not entirely true. I moved in without lights in the kitchen, but I needed lights in the kitchen to function easily. So that was a high priority item. You know, I mean, I've still got rooms that don't have lights in them. This room has no lights in it. This is all sorts of screwed up. Can't put nothing there yet. So there's still other things that are really not correct and need a repair, but finally this past week I finally feel like I've got to the point where most of the real critical stuff is done, and now I can kind of start slowing down and doing more kind of like detail orientated or cosmetic projects, and that I can film because it's not like it has to get done right away in order to function. So There will be more videos coming up on the house. I believe somebody asked why there was no like before and after kind of thing. Partially because of time and partially because there was nothing to show. I mean, you want to look at, you want a before and after, just picture a blank house, because that's what it was. There was nothing here. These lights were here, they just went out and bought whatever the cheapest thing they could find at Home Depot was that week. You know, the walls were all funny colors that were probably paint was on sale. You know, stuff like that. There was nothing really to show. There was no kitchen to speak of other than cheap cabinets that were probably on sale. There just wasn't much here. There wasn't much to film. There wasn't much to show, document a transformation of. I got some photographs, you know, but there just wasn't much to speak of. So there's not much of a before and after because there was really nothing before. It was just blank. So that's that. I think that's about all there is to underscore right now. Hoping to get this cleaned up a little bit more tomorrow because this is a mess. It's kind of stayed a mess because I don't have the networking capacity yet to plug in that computer, so I don't even use this room. I just kind of walk by it and say, oh, what a mess, and just keep going. But eventually this needs to get cleaned up so that it's a functional room. And this will be the video editing room. It's just also kind of a mess right now because it serves no purpose. And that's about that. So hopefully get some more filming done tomorrow and start some new projects.